It's July 1969, Fort Worth, Texas. The moon landing is 2 weeks away, and the whole country is watching the sky. But in Fort Worth, people weren't looking up. They were looking at the lake. Something was out there, standing on a cliff, 7 feet tall, covered in fur and scales. It jumped out of a tree and landed on a man's car. It threw a tire 500 feet through the air. Police were called. A crowd of armed citizens formed, and a photograph was taken. Blurry, white, and impossible to explain. This is the Lake Worth monster, and it happened right here. Lake Worth sits just northwest of Fort Worth, a reservoir carved out of the Texas scrubland, ringed with cedar and brush. At its center is Greer Island, reachable only by a muddy dirt track, and in the summer of 1969, it was the go-to spot for teenagers with nowhere else to be. The summer was slow, school was out, the heat was brutal, and then, in July, the calls started coming in. Reports flooded local newspapers of a half-man, half-goat, with fur and scales, seen on the shores of Lake Worth, in the trees, on the cliffs above Greer Island. The descriptions were specific. Witness Jim Stevens, who stood 6 feet 4 inches himself, said the creature was easily taller, at least 7 feet, maybe more. Others described it as between 250 and 300 pounds, long-necked, flop-eared, slope-shouldered, pot-bellied, covered in white hair or scaly skin, depending on who you asked. Some claimed it had a single horn in the middle of its head. Fort Worth had its own monster. The sightings didn't stay quiet. They escalated. One witness reported the creature landed on his car after leaping from a tree. Another claimed it hurled an automobile tire at a group of bystanders. A Sansom Park man named Jack Harris said he watched it throw that tire 500 feet. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram covered the story. WFAA followed up with a report the next day. Reporter Jerry Taff was dispatched to the scene, his tone, by his own account, wavering somewhere between skepticism and genuine unease. Locals began driving out to the lake at night to see it for themselves. Sighting the Lake Worth monster became the thing to do. Police, fearing that a mob of rifle-toting citizens might take matters into their own hands, launched an investigation. They found nothing. But the reports kept coming. A man named Charles Buchanan claimed he threw a bag of chicken to a gorilla-like creature to make it back off. A local postal worker reported seeing it multiple times. Same description, same location, total conviction. Then, in November, someone got a photograph. In the early hours of November 19th, 1969, 1:35 in the morning, a Fort Worth man named Alan Plaster was driving past the nature center when he spotted a large white shape moving through the tall grass near Greer Island. He grabbed his Polaroid and took the shot. The image is blurry, grainy. It shows what appears to be a man-sized white fur ball rising from the grass. Plaster's photo became famous in certain circles, circulated in Bigfoot and Sasquatch communities for decades, still referenced by cryptozoologists today. A local author named Sally Ann Clark was so captivated that she wrote a book, The Lake Worth Monster of Greer Island, Fort Worth, Texas. A Goatman statue was sculpted and sold in a local gift shop. That book now sells for nearly $150 on eBay. Fort Worth had created something that wouldn't go away. Here's where it gets complicated. When school resumed in the fall, the side eating stopped. Just like that. Investigators noticed. So did the press. In 2005, the Star-Telegram received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be one of 3 high school classmates who, in the summer of 1969, decided to go out to Lake Worth and scare people using a tinfoil mask. In 2009, a man admitted he was involved in the tire throwing, claiming the tire was being rolled along the ground, hit a bump, and launched into the air by accident, landing close enough to terrify bystanders. And Alan Plaster himself, in a later interview, said he believed what he photographed was probably a prank, adding that whatever it was, it seemed to want to be seen. So it was all a hoax? Maybe. Probably. But here's the thing that stays with me, and maybe with you too. Dozens of people saw something. Adults. Sober, frightened adults who called the police. A man who stood 6 feet 4 inches said it was bigger than him. Multiple witnesses. Multiple nights. Descriptions that matched without coordination. High school kids with a tinfoil mask don't explain all of that. There actually was a Lake Worth monster. A friend of the Greer Island Nature Center director knew him personally. But that one man, real, confirmed, Prankster accounts for one incident. Not all of them. The rest, nobody ever came forward. The Fort Worth Nature Center still sits on the lake. More than 3,000 acres of woods and prairie. The same cedar and brush it's always been. Staff still get questions about the monster from kids on field trips and summer campers. In 2019, the Nature Center held an official 50th anniversary celebration, the Lake Worth Monster Bash. Fort Worth claimed it, made it theirs. And somewhere on the north side of the lake, across from Greer Island, there's a patch of brush, thick, unchanged, where a grainy Polaroid was taken at 1:35 in the morning. Whatever was standing there wanted to be seen. Make of that what you will.